another paragraph on our hands. Okay. I swear I always learn something from your videos. You're like a big sister in my head. But I was wondering if you could discuss your transition to living in New York. I'm 23, just graduated, have been very spoiled in my life, blessings and a curse, and am now realizing everything that happens from here on out is on me. I haven't lived on my own yet, but I was thinking about moving in with my uncle this summer for a month or two so I can explore New York and make connections within my field of broadcast journalism and entertainment. What are some tips you would give to someone like me who is very scared of what the future holds and just being out there on my own in general? For example, getting around the city, being a young cute girl walking around alone, talking to new people, spending money, having the hustle mentality, etc. My transition to living in New York was a process. My first day that I got here, I didn't have my bed or anything, so I was sleeping in Spirit's room, and I just remember laying in the bed with my eyes open and tears rolling down the side of my face as I heard sirens, Caribbean music, loud noises, and this apartment that was not refurbished. Okay, and I was just like, why the hell did I move out here? And so it was a culture shock for me, because I'm used to a different living experience, in the same way that you explained it. I haven't been spoiled, but I think living in the South and having more space and things being a lot newer, I was spoiled in that sense, where I've had a different living experience, and I expected to have that same experience when I came up here, and I got hit in the face with something different, and I had to just deal with it. I think that realization of knowing that now you have to be responsible for all your own shit can be a tough one, but it can also be very liberating and exciting. And I'm sure you you have those emotions where it's like, I'm scared as fuck, but I'm also excited as fuck, and just feel them both. You should be scared and you should be excited. And by scared, I don't mean like scared like I don't know if I want to do this, but scared in a way of just like, it's the unknown and you don't know what you're walking into, and you should have, you know, questions, and you should be ready to see things you ain't never seen before. I think that it's a humbling experience when you expect something and something else happens and you have to deal with it, and it'll teach you to stop expecting. It'll teach you to learn to accept things, and especially the things that you cannot control anyways. And so I think it's a very refreshing experience. I found my moving to New York has been very refreshing for me as an adult. I can take on the world, okay? And you're 23, which is the age that I wish I would have made this decision. I made it at 24, but 23, when I turned 23, I should have moved up here right then, that day, because I knew right then. But that was when the ball started turning in my head, so I'm gonna give myself a little credit. But you know, do I have lip gloss on? Oh God. You know, you just graduated, you 23, you know what you want to do, you smart, you know what I'm saying? So give yourself some credit. You're not gonna come out here and be hoodwinked, okay? You're not gonna walk down the street and get pickpocketed just because you've been spoiled. You know better, and you move smart, and just know that, and move with confidence. Don't, you know what I'm saying? You know how to move, and if you don't, learn before you get here. You're gonna be all right, trust me. What else did you ask in here? I haven't lived on my own yet, but I was thinking about moving in with my uncle this summer for a month or two so I can explore New York and make connections with my friends. Yeah, see, my thing about coming up here and exploring New York for a couple months before you get here, I'll put it this way. If I got up here and had the option to leave immediately after I got here, like if I gave myself 2 months to live here, I would have went back home, because I did not enjoy my first 2 months here. It was a real culture shock, and I think that when you allow yourself too much time to make that decision, you are going to leave. No one loves New York when they first get here. I mean, you can love it for what it is, but no one just simply loves the living nature of it, the commuting, the weather, the people. That's not something that off rip you're like, oh, I love New York. Like, you know, it's either you like it or you don't like it, and you may not like it, and I would hate for that to change the whole trajectory of your, it's a trajectory, I said that one kind of fast, but you know, I would hate for that to change your whole game plan simply because you didn't like having to walk 10 minutes to the train from where your uncle lives at. Like, I'm just trying to think about what would have happened to me if I did that, and I probably wouldn't be here. And God, that would fucking suck. So I think you should come up here and visit. I think you should come up here and visit. I think you should see what New York is talking about. I came to New York twice before I made the decision to move here, and I stayed up here for maybe like 3 or 4 days, and I stayed with my best friend, and she lived in Harlem, so I really had a New York experience because Harlem is in the city, so it's still very like moving fast, loud area. So I really saw like New York. This is New York. We in New York with it. I mean, that's just me. That's just me. I think you need to just come up here and visit. Don't come up here and stay for 2 months and then make a decision, because you may not want to stay here. When you force yourself though to be here, you gotta just force it and deal with it and do it. I say if you gonna do that game of like coming up here and figuring out, come up here for a year, but do not leave. Come up here and stay up here for a year. New York is not the kind of place where you could test it out for a couple months to see if you like it. Things change. New York in the winter is different from New York in the summer, spring. You know what I mean? So just consider that. Consider that. Yeah, and like I said, just be smart about the way that you move. You seem to be a very smart girl. You know right from wrong, it looks like. Just be smart. You are a cute little young thing walking around, so you know, just be cognizant of that. I walk around at night all the time by myself, but I'm aware of my surroundings and I let it be known. Okay, you said what? All right now, goodbye, good night. You know, I pull up with that kind of energy, and I don't care if they think I'm crazy, because it's like, boy, at the end of the day, I bet you won't run up. Now how about that? You know, and at one point I was walking home with my pepper spray, and I kept that finger on the trigger, and I walk around with it in my hand. I'm letting y'all see I got this in my hand. Run up here if you want to, boy. I will. You got one time, and this finger is going down, and then you gonna be going down. Okay, so just know that. Just move smart. Period. Next question. I saw that post my leak put up about jealousy. I don't know how I feel about it. We need to discuss it on your next Instagram live. Okay, we will. We will. Fair enough. I see that people have different opinions about it. I just think, honestly, like, you cannot tell me that you have not felt a jealous or envious feeling. You can't tell me that you don't still to this day sometimes have a jealous or envious feeling. Like, I think people who are like, no, you should never feel jealous of that. It's like, you shouldn't stay in that moment for long. It literally be a moment for me where I see something and I'll feel something weird, where it's like me feeling like, why do they have that? And I'll even maybe ask that in my head, and I'll immediately be like, girl, you know what I mean? Checking myself. So we can talk about it if you want to. Sure. Anyways, what advice would you give to someone struggling with a broken heart? Any tips on regaining self-confidence? First of all, my heart is with you, and I'm sorry that you're going through that. It's always tricky. Everyone's different. I know for me, dealing with my breakup, I didn't know what to do or like how to handle the situation. That was my first time being in a relationship that long and that serious, so it was definitely a tough one. And you know, I'm still going through the process of like, you know, picking myself back up. And I think for me, my self-confidence was tested because I, after the breakup, really was questioning whether or not someone else would love me. And I really had to just look at myself and be like, girl, you are a lovable person. And you know, in the same way that you are covered in your career and with your friends and family, and you've been protected, you will also be covered and protected and taken care of in terms of the way that you find love and find a partner. So I'm confident in my faith, and that's kind of what keeps me going. So it's always easier said than done, but I would just remind you that you're not alone, and you know, you're dealing with things, but there is someone so much bigger than you who is protecting you and already has taken care of, you know, your next love journey, and most importantly, your love journey within yourself. So you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right, I promise. How do you get out in the dating world? Next question. Well, child, I don't get out in the dating world. That's the problem. Oh man, I just don't even get out into it. Like, wait, I don't have a date life. What? Lord knows I do. But I don't have one. And, you know, it's something that I'm dealing with. But, you know, everything's gonna be okay. I go out, but it's hard for me to meet new people. Child, me and you both. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got no advice for that. I'm trying to figure it out my damn self. Question. Kennedy, you are so inspirational. I live for your videos and live with Kennedy on Instagram. Thank you. Keep being amazing, okay? Question, how did you build / boost your self-confidence? Girl, I looked in the mirror. Hello? Like, ain't no way you gonna tell me that somebody that's fine ain't confident, okay? That somebody that's fine ain't popping, you know what I mean? I got to choose. Y'all, it ain't about what you look like. This, I'm being funny. It's really about how you feel about yourself, you know? And if you don't feel great about yourself, you gotta do some internal work and figure out what needs to be done to make yourself feel better. Now, I'm not a therapist, so I don't know the ins and outs or the best way to go about doing that. But I think that you have to talk about it and you have to write it out and feel it out and like really express the things that you are unhappy with and see if you can change them. And if you can, change them. And when you do, look back in that mirror and tell me that you don't feel a little bit better about yourself. I think you really just have to believe in yourself. Once I started believing in myself, I was really like, okay. I've always been confident in terms of looks, but you know, as far as what I was bringing to the table and like where I was in my life, I didn't start really getting confident until I started doing what I knew I was good at, aka doing what I love to do, which was entertainment, acting, YouTube. You know, these are things that I love to do that I know I can do well. So I've never not felt like I couldn't do this shit. I'm doing it without a doubt. So for me, that's kind of where that is with that, if that makes any sense. How did you build / boost your self-confidence? I just started believing in everything I was serving, period. This is what I say I have to offer, then that's what I have to offer. And I really believe that. And you know, showing up and showing out and really putting myself to the test. Like, I knew who I wanted to be as a grown woman. I knew that I wanted to have my own style. I knew that I wanted to move on my own path, and I had to create those things for myself. And when I did, and I put in that work, baby, you know what I'm saying? Here we are, and welcome to. Hopefully that answered your question. Kennedy, I love you. I love you too, thanks. In your question and answer, can you touch on how you transitioned from having color to going back to your natural hair color? I know you said you dyed it, but what kind did you use? I'm sick of my color help. Well, girl, my color story is part of the reason why I think I'm bald-headed to this day. And when I say bald-headed, I just mean I have way less hair than I used to have. My hair, I used to have a lot more hair, and I still feel like my hair is falling out sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. And so I've been working on like the things that I eat, drinking more water, just paying attention to it. But I have been noticing like my hair is just not as thick as it used to be. And I don't know if that has to do with age or what, but just to give y'all a little insight of what's going on with me and something that I'm dealing with, that's something that I'm dealing with. And you know, I'm just trying to figure out what it is that's causing it. So, you know, I've got my vitamins. I'm being more careful with the way that I do my hair, my protective styles. I thought that maybe the protective styles was too much stress on my hair, so I stopped doing them. But then my hair was getting more tangled, aka I was like getting more breakage, and my hair already feels a little weak. So like getting the tangles out was causing hair to come out, and it just was a whole cycle. Yeah, so anyway, back to the actual question at hand. Hair color. So I got my hair dyed red in like, it was like 2012, and it was the worst decision of my life. Oh no, it had to be like 2013, and that was the worst thing I ever did. I let someone do it for free. She wanted me to be in she's a stylist, hairstylist, and she wanted me to do a hair shoot for her, and she colors hair. And you know, I let her do that. That went fine. The next week I came back, and like the trade-off was she would do my hair for homecoming. I just wanted my hair blown straight, and she had like her hair assistant doing some of it, and the way that they handled my hair was so rough and so horrible. Right then and there I felt like hair was pulled out of my head. But that color really damaged my hair. I put a protein treatment in my hair, left it in overnight, not realizing it was a protein treatment, and that caused my hair to like clump together. And after that, I feel like my hair texture completely changed, and my hair never grew back from that moment, because I went to a stylist who basically just brushed the knots out of my hair. So a lot of my hair was ripped out, and I don't think it ever grew back. So confidence wise, that was something that really got me, because for so long I was really dependent on me being the girl with the hair, and like Kennedy, her big curly hair, like that was my thing. And then when my hair wasn't doing so hot, it was like, okay, so now what are people gonna think about me? You know, if I don't have hair, what do I have? And then also this is when I had my apartment by myself, and I was living by myself. Girl, I'm all off your question, but this is a little story time. Hold on, let me get a little sip of water. I was living by myself, and my apartment had hard water, and that shit fucked me up. So my hair was already at its worst it's ever been, at the weakest it's ever been, and then I have hard water to work with on top of that. So my skin was getting fucked up. My skin was fucked up, y'all. I'm talking about bumps everywhere on my face, everywhere except for my forehead. They were everywhere, filled up to the max. And you know, I'm really not exaggerating. It was to the point where some of my coworkers was like, Kennedy, what's going on with your skin? Like, you know, if coworkers feel comfortable enough to ask you that, and it was just feeling so uncomfortable that everywhere I turned, people were noticing the difference in the way that I looked. So my confidence was really shook at that time. That was like 2014, 2015. That was a rough time for me. Damn, my camera's gonna die. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Basically, I let that red just grow out of my head. I never dyed my hair again after that, because I was so fucked up from that I just never did it again, and I won't do it for a very long time. I don't think I'll get my hair dyed for forever. Maybe I'll just go and get a wig. I'm not into hair coloring and fucking my shit up. Don't dye your hair, girl. Just leave it alone. Go and get a wig or something. I don't think dye is right for our hair. What's your zodiac sign? I'm an Aquarius. Are you close with your family? Unfortunately, I wish that we were though. Do you still use the aloe vera every day? I sure do, morning and night. I love it. It changed the game for me. It's literally what I use as my moisturizer now. Do you eat healthy, and can you cook? Yes and yes. And what are some good tips for saving money? Don't spend it. Period. I budget out for, like, you know, rent and my responsibilities bills wise, you know, paying for my phone, paying for internet, stuff like that. And then after that, anything else is extra. And of course, food, anything else is extra. If you don't need it, you don't get it. Simple. Oh, that's it. Let me see. I answer everything. Oh, amen. Okay, so that's all the questions that I have so far. If new ones pop up, then we'll take care of them then. Thank you guys for sending in questions. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.